This is going to be a quick overview of Git on the command line. There's also a Git GUI. I'm most comfortable with the command line. It's what I'm used to. I live on the command line. And learning the very basics of Git, if you're not super comfortable with it, is, I think, a little bit easier on the command line because there's only a small handful of commands you have to know, and they're always the same. You can make a little cheat sheet, especially in the context of using agentic AI to edit or create code, to be able to kind of have a source of truth outside the AI to see what actually changed, what changes do I want to keep, what changes do I want to reject, that kind of thing. And Git just makes that so easy, and that's what I'm going to show you here. So I have this little simple directory here where I have some existing code, and this I'll show you what the purpose of this for the demo in a bit. But right here, this is just a simple text file with a .py extension. It's just Python, existing code, hello world. It just prints that out. So I'm going to assume you already have Git installed. It's easy to download if you don't, but just right-click in the directory where your code is, where you want to work. On Windows 11, if you don't have it pre-configured, you may have to click another button here to unlock the classic menu, but there should be an open git bash here. I'm going to use the bash because that's command line. And that just opens up a git bash, which is, if you're running on Windows, basically gives you a lot of the Linux commands if you're used to Linux. So like ls will show you the contents of the directory. We have existing code and this big images directory, and we can see what's inside that big images directory. It's just some JPEGs. Some images. And so the very first thing we want to do when we are starting out with Git is we want to initialize a repository. And that is done right on the command line. You do git init dot, just like that, with spaces, hit enter, and it'll say initialized empty Git repository. Now what this did under the hood is literally just create this hidden folder named .git. I have hidden folders visible in my Explorer to show you. You probably won't see this if you don't have that enabled, but that's literally all it is. And if you go in here, you can see there's some stuff. You never want to go in here. You never want to make any changes. You just want to kind of pretend that doesn't exist. But just so you know, that's all that's happening when you initialize a Git repository here. When that's done, you can type in the command git status, and you can always do git status. I use that command very frequently, and it will show you the current branch you're on. We're not going to worry about that. No commits yet. We're not going to worry about that either. And now it's going to show you these untracked files. This is just the contents of the directory at this point. Now, just to drive home this point, if we do git status, we see all this stuff. If I delete this, just go back to my Explorer and delete that folder, and then run git status again, it's going to say, hey, this isn't a Git repository. And this is what would have happened if I ran this before I ever did git init. It's like the repository doesn't exist. Okay, we're going to do git init again to bring that back, and we've got this repository here. What I recommend doing to start out is just first checking to see if you have anything that you don't want to necessarily track all the changes on. This would be large files like binary files or images where you're not expecting to make a lot of changes, because tracking those in the repository can eat up some disk space and slow things down. So if you're creating a new repository, what we want to do is you actually want to create a git ignore file. Now you can do this with whatever tools you're comfortable with. You can go new text file and rename it. You can open up Notepad++, whatever your editor you're comfortable with. I am going to work right inside the command line in an editor called nvim. This is just an editor. It's nothing you need to worry about. And I'm going to come down here and open up a terminal right inside of this editor. So all this is allowing me to do is run commands just like before. We've got git status, and we've got this command, and then command line. We can also have this window up here where I can open up files and edit them right here. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Let me make this window a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file here, and I'm going to save it as something called .git ignore. It has to be named .git ignore. And you can see that created this file here. And I'm going to write big images /. That will tell it that it's a directory. I'm going to save that file. And now this tells Git just completely ignore this whole directory. There are other patterns and wildcards and stuff you can put in the .gitignore file, one line per entry. You could also do star.jpg or something like that. That would be fine. I'm just going to keep it simple and omit this directory big images. Now, if you type in git status, you'll see we no longer see big images appear here at all. We do see this .gitignore file and, of course, our existing code. Before we get started on making changes to our code and tracking them, you see how it says untracked files? We want to track these files. And the way to do that, what I recommend doing if you're just starting out with creating a new repository on existing code, is do git add dot, and I'll explain these in a little bit later. Don't worry about these. It's probably not relevant to you. And then git status. Now you'll see the file names turn from red to green. That is because these are staged now. These are changes to be committed. They are tracked, and they are what is called staged. Anytime you see red, that is unstaged. Anytime you see green, that is staged. Now we are going to type in git commit-m initial commit. You can put whatever you want here. I always like to do initial commit. That's just a message for your future self. It doesn't mean anything to the machine. Now, if we do git status, this is kind of the default baseline we're going to see from here on out. It says on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean. That is a good thing. Now, that means we have a fresh, clean baseline here. I'm going to close the gitignore file, and now we can start editing code. So I'm going to edit this code file here. Let me just run it first to show you what it looks like. Python existing code.py. I'm just going to run this. You can see it. This is a program. It prints out hello world. I'm going to edit this and say, hello world, you are beautiful. The world is beautiful enough. And I'm going to save that. Now we can run it. We can see it's all changed. All well and good. Well, where does git help us? Now if we do git status, you'll see, okay, we have unstaged changes. Now it's not that the whole file is unstaged, just the changes. You can see it says modified existing code.py. Okay. So, and if we want to see exactly what those changes are, we use git diff. And now it printed out, okay, red this time means deleted, and green means added. It goes kind of line by line. So it doesn't show you the specific words that changed. It just shows the line that changed. We also apparently changed the new line at the end of the file. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about that. There maybe was a new line there before that wasn't there before. That sometimes happens under the hood. Just an FYI. So where do we want to go from here? Well, if we use git status and git diff, those are going to be your two most frequently used commands, by the way. If we are happy with these changes, let's say, well, actually, let's pretend we're not happy. Let's say, I'm going to say, wait, I have uncommitted changes here. I have unstaged changes. Let's do a git diff. Let's see exactly what those are. And let's say, no, you think the world is hideous. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. The world is an ugly day. You're going to get rid of those. So what you want to do to get rid of those is do git restore dot. And that is going to restore this, everything you see here, back to its baseline that was last staged or committed. In this case, it's just going to get rid of that sentence we added. Okay, now we can do git status, and we can see we're back to the clean baseline. If I reload this in my editor, you can see the file is indeed back to the way it was. Okay, so just to recap, git status, clean baseline, we make a change, we do git status again, we see that change show up, we want to see the exact diff, we do git diff, and we can see exactly what changed. We say, no, I don't like that change, I like the way it was before. Git restore dot, and then reload the file in our editor, and it's back to the way it was before. Okay, let's talk about staging. So let's say we want to make some changes that we decide we want to keep. Hello world. Let's just add a few exclamation points here. Again, we'll go to git diff. You can go straight to git any of the commands, by the way. You don't need to do git status. That's just if you want to see it. And we see git diff. Okay, we have this change here, and we want to keep it. You're going to go git add dot. Now if we do status, you'll see it is staged. Reloading in the editor, nothing changed. The file on the disk did not change. This is an under the hood Git thing. Now, let's say you have those changes, you made those changes, you liked them, you added them, and now you're going to make additional changes. You're going to delete this, and it's not going to run. So now we're going to do Python existing code, and there's an error. What? Well, now if we do git status, you'll see the same file appears in both staged and unstaged, because we have changes that are staged and changes that are unstaged. As usual, git diff will show only the unstaged changes, the ones in red. You can see all that did was delete this close paren here. If you want to see the green changes, you could do git diff -- staged. Okay? That will show you the green changes, the ones that are staged, the ones we liked, the ones we kept. Okay? And here you can see we added these 2 exclamation points. That's all good. This is not showing the file as it currently is. This is only showing the staged changes. So to see the file as it currently is, the most reliable way is always to pop it open in your editor. Okay, so git restore dot will again get rid of the unstaged changes, and we're back to just the staged ones. And if I open it up in my editor, we can see we're back to the 3 exclamation points and the close paren, all right back the way it was. Now, let's say we accidentally added some changes, or maybe we added some changes and then decide later, wait, you know, I think I liked it. I think I actually did like just the single exclamation point. You can do git restore -- staged, and it will restore the staged changes, but it won't delete them. It will demote them back to being unstaged changes. So git restore -- staged dot. And now if we do git status, okay, it's the same file. Nothing changed on the disk. The editor shows exactly the same file, but in the git index under the hood, it is now unstaged changes. If you do git restore dot again on the on the unstaged changes, then it's gone. Now if we do git status, we're back at our clean baseline, and you can see we're back to just the hello world with the 1 exclamation point. One little note I will mention: what is with this dot? Well, when you do git restore, git add, you can even use it on git diff, etc. What the dot means is just the entire current directory, everything. But if you make a modification, let's say hello world, I like sunshine, and that shows up, you can do git add just the name of this file, existingcode.py, and instead of dot, okay, and that will stage only that file. Now, since that's the only one that was modified, you can see that it doesn't make much difference here, but you get the point. You can do a single file at a time. And if you're actually working in a lot of files and everything's messy and you're not sure about it, and you're looking through to see what changes you want to keep, what changes you don't want to keep, I would actually recommend doing this one file at a time, especially if you're restoring stuff, because git restore dot is very dangerous. There's no confirmation, there's no undo. If you do git restore dot, in this case, there were no unstaged changes, so it didn't make a difference. But if you do git restore dot, all that work you just did on your disk is gone. You can't get it back. So be very careful with git restore dot. Single file can also be used for git restore -- staged existing code. You can do that. You can even git diff a single file, and it will show you just that file. So that's all you really need to know for operating Git. There is one more thing I will show you, and that is committing. We already did it at the beginning. Git commit only commits staged changes. So if I try to do git commit some message here, no changes added to commit because there was nothing changed. Okay, there's nothing staged, excuse me. So if we do git add dot, now it's green. Now I can do that git commit some message here Now that made a change. We can see 1 file changed, 2 insertions, 2 deletions. Now git status, hey, we're back at our clean baseline. That's what committing does. You're committed to those changes. You can't get them back with the simple commands I've showed you. You can get them back with other commands, but not with the simple ones I showed you. It's like you're back at your clean baseline. Everything is the way you like it. We're committed to this I like sunshine. And now if we, make other changes like manually deleting this to go back to this, it will show up as a fresh change. So in conclusion, git status, git diff, git add dot, git restore dash dash staged dot. If things are staged in green, you can do git diff dash dash staged to see the staged diffs. You can do git diff just to see the unstaged diffs. In this case, there's nothing, so nothing's going to show up. And that is all you need to know. I'm going to restore these changes and restore them again because these are staged. I have to unstage them and then restore them from there. We're back at our baseline. I reload in the editor, and we can see we still have I like sunshine. That is all you need to know to effectively track changes in Git. Before this video ends, though, I'm going to showcase just really quickly what it is like to use this in the context of agentic AI. So I'm going to pop open another terminal here, and I'm going to fire up Codex, which is the AI agent I like to use. And it's going to ask me, do you trust the contents of this directory? Yeah. I mean, you have to say yeah, because you're giving it permission to read everything in that directory. So don't do this in a directory that you don't want to hand over to Codex. I'm going to change the model on this to be just slightly less intelligent because I currently have it as extra high, and that is overkill for our needs. I'm just going to go back to medium, so it's a little bit faster. I'm going to go ahead and open up existing code.py again, but let's pretend that's not open because there could be other files here. All right, now I'm just going to ask this AI, you are in a code repo with a simple hello world script. Please edit the script to make a fun little hello world game based on the user's current mood. Ask them a multiple choice question about their mood and greet them accordingly, and then quit. I'm just going to give it kind of free rein on what this means. And one thing I always like to do with Codex, because the harness where Codex runs is sometimes a little bit finicky about not asking you permission to do git commands. So I'm just going to ask the model itself, please don't stage or commit anything in Git. Leave those operations to me. And that's something I generally put in the beginning of my conversations with an agentic AI. Let's run this and see what it comes up with. So this is going to be working here, and we can see in the background too, it is probably going to be, I don't know if it's going to make another file or just edit the current one. But you can see it's reading the current status of the directory, just kind of getting its bearings. Okay, it's editing it now, and it's writing this code. Stuff is showing up. I created this .agents directory. That's something it does as well. And it is testing with Python to make sure everything compiles. Okay, let's go back to our source of truth, git status. We can see, okay, there's this PyCache. This is something that I'm actually going to add to the git ignore. And it's totally fine to add to the git ignore at any time. You don't have to have things staged or committed or anything like that. PyCache, save that. And now if we do git status, you can see PyCache is gone. That is something we definitely don't want to include. This is just build byproducts, by the way, Python, if you don't know what that is. All right, so now we have our existing code and our git ignore. Let's do a git diff on just the existing code file because I want to see what this looks like. All right, so you can see it took out the hello world and it put in hello world mood quest. How are you feeling right now? We've got some options. We have an input, we have greetings, and then we have an output. Okay, looks okay. I'm generally happy with those changes, so I'm going to add them. And now we can see we have staged changes. I'm going to go ahead now and ask it to, well, let's run the thing, right? We got to run the thing. Hello, World Mood Quest. How are you feeling? Let's say curious and adventurous. Hello, Brave Explorer. The Hello World map has a secret door. Okay, cool. Yeah, did the little game. Very cool. Let's go ahead and ask it to do something else. Perfect. Can you add a new feature to the script to randomly insult the user with a chance of 1 out of 5? All right. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go. So it is going to make the edits to the file. All right, and I think it's done. So now if we do git status, we can see, all right, we didn't commit anything yet, but here's the existing code changes we had before, and here's the newest ones from the latest prompt. So I like to get in the habit of every single time I prompt the AI, I do git diff, I look at the latest changes, I see if I like them. Okay, we're importing random here, so we can use the random library. We have a list of queued up insults, and then we print the insult at the end if the randomness decides. So every single time I prompt the AI, I like to do this git diff, decide if I want to keep the changes or not. Let's run it and see what this is like. Yeah, existing code. 3. Yeah, no, it didn't insult me. Let's try this again. Nope. Come on, 1 out of 5. It's got to happen at some point, right? 2. Here we go. Also, your questing skills have the grace of a dropped sandwich. All right, so the code works. Now I have a choice here. I can either add this at which point this latest prompt output is going to be inseparably fused with the previous edit, or I can restore it. Let's show what it's like to restore it. Git restore existing code, and now if we do git status, we're back at the way things were before. And you can see if I reload this file here, you know, the insult is gone. And there's no way to bring it back, by the way, at this point. It's just gone. So then I can say, on second thought, I don't like those changes. I restored them. Just FYI. Okay, I like to tell the AI that. Just to keep it oriented so it doesn't get confused later and try to re-add them. I've seen that happen if I don't do this. It'll be halfway through some other edit and you can see it thinking. It'll be like, wait, why did this change? I was sure I made those. What's going on? And it'll go down this reasoning path, try to figure it out. So I just like to tell it right up front. You can launch into your next prompt or you can just hit enter and just tell it, you know, it's not going to do anything. So anyway, once you're happy with working for a while, I do like to make sure everything is staged. And then when the stage list starts to get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm really happy with this change set. It's nice and coherent. I'm going to commit this so that I can stage other things and not have them get muddled, not muddy the waters. So then you just do commit, changed hello world into a game. I'll show you what this message is for in a minute, but changed hello world into a game. We're just gonna leave it at that, and we're back at our clean status. That is literally all you need to know to effectively use Git with programming and especially agentic AI, and it is very, very wonderful. So that's all you really need to know. That's the bare minimum. If you like, stop watching, try it out yourself, get a feel for it. I highly encourage trying things out yourself and getting that muscle memory build up. However, I'm going to show you just a couple additional commands that will make your life easier in regards to those commits. If you want to pause the video and try it out and then come back later or a different day when you want the more info, that's fine. But just a couple more commands here. The first one is git log. This will show all of your commits. Okay, so we have our initial commit, some message here, changed hello world into a game. Okay. One thing that we can do here, I'm actually going to open up another terminal. Okay. And we're going to do git log up here in this one, and we can scroll around here and see. So this is the full history with the newest at the top of all the commits we did. Now what git does is it preserves the full state of all the files in each commit. So we can do git show. This is a new command, and we can copy this hash here. Now one thing about git, you don't have to copy the entire hash. It just has to be enough characters to uniquely identify it. So I'm just going to copy a few. We can do git show this one. This will show the latest commit, okay? And it shows the message and it shows the file. We are adding PyCache to git ignore, and we changed this hello world into a game, okay? That's all that's in that commit. We scroll to the very bottom, we're done, okay? Let's take a look at this one. Git show, what was the previous commit? The previous commit is just adding that I like sunshine, if you recall that. This eventually got overwritten by the latest commit, but all this history is preserved and you can see it. Now, if we go down to the initial commit, this is going to be your files exactly as they were before you started making those changes. If you followed my process, this is going to be exactly as everything was before you did that first commit. So we just have the very original existing code as it was. If you want to restore the state temporarily of a previous commit, you can do git checkout and paste that in there, okay? And it will tell you here some stuff about branches and stuff. You can undo the operation with git switch dash. That's all you need to know for now. You can say the head is now at this initial commit. And if you do git status, instead of saying on branch master, it's going to say head detached at this commit. And it's going to show this PyCache as an untracked file because, remember, this commit was before we added that to git ignore. And git ignore is part of the changes. So if we open this up, reload this in our editor, we can see that's gone. If we open up this existing code file, we can see we're back to exactly the way it was. And this, by the way, Git operates on the file system. This isn't tied to the editor at all. So if we open this up in any other editor, this is, or you can run it, this is really what's here. It's back to before you made any changes. You can go back, you can test stuff out. When you're ready to go back to the current, you can do git switch dash, just like I told you. And now if we do status, we are on branch master at the head. And if we reload in our editor, we will see all of those good changes we made are back. But you can always pop around back and forth. Commits are final, mostly. So you can, once you commit stuff, you always have the history. So hopefully that was helpful. This was just an intro to using Git, the very basics, and especially in the context of agentic AI. Thanks for watching.